Yo, what's going on, guys? So today in this video, I'm pretty much just going to be mixing one of my clients' records from start to finish.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass. And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass. And I'm flowing on this beat. I feel I'm finding all my peace. I've been trying to move it forward. I've been trying to stay on beat.
Pretty much just another mix breakdown, another mixing tutorial. So that being said, let's just get right into the mix and see what we have. The first thing that I want to do with this is just get the BPM in the key of this instrumental. I'm actually using the client's auto-tune settings that they already had on the session, which is this. So retune speed at 22 and humanize at 30. I'm an E minor, so I'm just gonna pretty much just verify that really quick, which, you know, I like to use mixed in key mostly for that. So let me just go in this folder. Cool, so E minor and then 103. So I have been switching up how I've been mixing lately. I'm not really routing a lot of stuff to my mix. Well, everything is still routed to my mix bus, but I'm not doing so much on the mix bus anymore. Pretty much, I'm just gonna start off with pretty much like the instrumental bus, and then I'm gonna have that routed into my mix bus. So let's just go ahead and start off with just trying to get the instrumental the way that I want it before it hits my mix bus. Pretty much what I've been doing is I've been just routing my 2 tracks to my drum bus, which is technically what I would use to put all my drums in, and really my melody. I need to change the name of that, but my drum bus is pretty much my whole beat bus pretty much. But I'm using pretty much the original, I think it's like SG, but I usually change this, and then this is pretty much the Jason Joshua trick that you would to gain stage or 2-track. If you don't know, you have to look up the video. So this is pretty much his go-to settings, and I kind of just, again, mix into this as well. So this is me just taking gems from different people, adding it into mine, and I like the separation that I'm getting, not adding certain things into the mix bus that's, you know, the vocals are going into it, the beat is going into it, kind of gives it that separation, keeping them separated. So I'm actually just gonna go up on the beat, probably just another dB. Yeah, my goal is just to hit this 1 dB with that kick, pretty much. And I'll just let everything else kind of fall into place. That's all I'm listening to, just that kick or the 808 now. If the 808 is in there and that's the main thing, I'm just letting that 808 pretty much get like 1 dB, just so the beat can be controlled with the pretty much the loudest element of the beat is usually kick or whatnot. And then now I'm just only gonna go up a dB with the go clip, nothing too crazy for now. All right, so we can move on to the vocals, which is just turn on the lead vocals and turn on my SSL channel. You know, that's how I like to start.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass.
All right, that sounds really good. So it's like really minor adjustments for this preset right now.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that
all right, I do want to turn up my volume on my end just a little bit.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass. And I'm flowing on this beat. I feel I'm finding all my peace. I've been trying to move it forward. I've been trying to stay on beat.
All right, so for now, what I'm gonna do is just turn this humanize down to 0, but I'm gonna keep his retune speed where it is. But for now, humanize to 0.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass.
And now we're gonna use some of my West Audio gear, which if I'm hybrid mixing, West Audio gear pretty much blew it out the park. It's just very convenient. I'm able to use plugins, but I'm gonna do a whole separate video for that. For now, we're just gonna use it, and I'm gonna show you how I'm using it. So I think I'm gonna go with pretty much their Mimas, which is kind of like the 1178 or 1176, my bad. So this is pretty much hybrid mixing. If you don't know, that's something that I'm pretty big on. I like to do it, even though it's a pain sometimes. The way his vocals sound, I can pretty much go with like an R&B vox and then kind of just adjust from there. So let me hear what we got.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down.
All right, I love how that sounds. That actually was kind of perfect, right? But I'm gonna go down. How do I do this? I think I gotta do it with my wheel. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of adjust this.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass.
I think what I want to do here though with the side chain filter is just do 60 hertz.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass.
And then I'm gonna go up on my output just a little bit.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass. And
so I'm not gonna say too much, but guys, y'all hear this? The West Audio kind of killed the game with this. So yeah, pretty much the only compressor I use for the first compressor now is usually my Mimas. I don't really see that coming off my chain at all. Sometimes I use the Rhea, which I'm probably not going to use the Rhea this mix, but yeah, Mimas is something that is like, it's a must have for me. All right, so we can actually just hit it with a de-esser, smoothing this up just a little bit.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way.
And what I like to do is just kind of get a visual of pretty much what's going on with the vocal. So I'm gonna just turn off this de-esser right quick and just see what's going on.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass.
So if you're like trying to de-ess something, this is a simple trick for you guys is boom. You see like 5.7 here. This is kind of where I would want to probably start my de-esser. It's already kind of here, right? So we can kind of keep it where I had it and just adjust from here. Of course, you're not going to go all the way down to like 1.5, but just you can get a visual of how the vocal looks on EQ. You know, don't mix with your eyes, but it's definitely a good tool to use just to see like where you're at pretty much in the mix.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass. And I'm flowing on this beat. I feel I'm finding on my piece. I've been trying to move it forward. I've been trying to stay on beat.
Cool, I like that. And then guys, you know, I'm gonna go with the C4. I'm gonna be releasing this preset kit very soon. I know I say this like probably every video, but it's coming. I'm gonna come up with like 5 more presets and it's coming, guys, I promise.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass.
Yeah, that C4. I just can't get rid of it on my vocal chain, especially just that preset in particular. Just because the way I mix, I feel like I know I can leave some space for something else to kind of like control it later on. And that's, again, guys, when you're mixing, just make sure you're kind of thinking ahead. You're never gonna get everything all in one plugin. So all right, so we're gonna go with RVox. You know, the C4 and the RVox is pretty much like my signature move.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass. And I'm flowing on this beat. I feel I'm finding on my piece.
And then I'm gonna go with, I think these are the Hyperion, correct me if I'm wrong, the Hyperion. And I'm gonna go to my preset kit here, and I'm gonna go to my go-to Vox. But I'm gonna adjust some things. So like this is probably gonna go down, but for now I'm gonna turn that off. Just wanna hear how this sounds without this adjustment, then I'm gonna turn it back on.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass. And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma. I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down. Know that all my future's in the grass.
Cool, so I was hearing some stuff around this 800. I'm gonna be able to check visually if I want to, like with my fat filter, which I still kind of do more surgical stuff with the fat filter, but I like to do wide adjustments with this one, just because when it's analog, I want to get some brightness out of this. I want to get some like mid-range out of this. Like I want to get kind of like the good color out of analog gear, you know what I'm saying? And then I'll probably do like my surgical stuff with a plugin, because one is just easier to just dive in and do that. With this, I think I have like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I pretty much have 5 bands that I can control, and one is just a high pass. So
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass. And I'm
see what I mean about using your ears, but you can still use your eyes. Because remember, I just said I was hearing something around 800, and you see how this is peaking around 800. And right before we even looked at it, what did we do here, guys? We deducted around 800. So again, just use your ears sometimes. So again, we could kind of go down just a little bit more since it's so over exaggerated. Now that I'm kind of using my eyes, but again, your ears aren't lying to you, so always listen to them first, but at least you can verify with something like the Pro Q3.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass.
Cool, so just something minor here. So I'm turning on this width bus here.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass. And I'm flowing on this beat, I feel I'm finding on my peace.
And right before we start adding effects, let's just go ahead and add on Soothe. And let's use the Hurricane Chris vocal preset that I have here.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass. And I heard to keep a Glock, that shit don't faze me. Know I'm towing on if I ain't got ain't got no safety. Know that I've been living with that danger since a baby.
I like that. I like that. So just minor adjustments. All I did was just really touch this depth knob, and that was it. So I'm loving how the vocals are sounding. Let's start adding effects. So I'm going to go ahead and add on this reverb. We're probably going to go with Valhalla Vintage Verb and go with my Dark Magic preset kit, and let's use maybe too much, and I'm gonna go down a lot. I just want these settings, but I'm gonna go down a lot here, and then down a lot here as well.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass.
Cool, just minor adjustments with the high cut, the low cut, and this high shelf here, and we can actually go up a little bit there. That's pretty much it.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking.
Is the popping coming from the gear? Is it coming from his vocal? Because I hear a pop. Let me see.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast.
You know what it is? That's why I don't use Auto Tune Pro. It's probably Auto Tune Pro. I always get a popping noise with Auto Tune Pro. So I'm gonna use Auto Tune Effects because I don't really have that problem with EFX. So let's just get the same settings, which was 22.0. Pretty much everything else is the same. Cool, so let's replace these. Hopefully that fixes that.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past.
And in my opinion, it sounds better.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass. And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass.
Cool, so this is pretty much my starting settings. All I'm usually doing here is just changing the style, and I'm just trying to make that fit the record easy. If I need to add any other plugins after, I will, but it sounds just fine to me.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my.
What I will do is turn this up a little bit just to control the delays a little bit more.
And I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass.
All right, let's see what this is. Is this a double?
I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way.
All right, so what I've been liking to do with my doubles is something I learned from Neek, Little Skies Engineer, is just put a double or two on it, go to basic doubler.
I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about.
Cool, we could just kind of get this an EQ here.
I gotta slow down. I know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass.
Cool, and just because I gave that so much high end right there on that doubler, just to kind of like make it peak out, I am gonna put this de-esser up, kind of just focus around this like 7,500 and up.
I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past that I'm on now. Know that I can't go and drop my man. I gotta slow down, know I gotta slow down. I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking.
Cool, so just de-essing that just a little bit after that doubler, just to make that double basically sound a little bit smoother.
I gotta slow down, I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past. Know that I'm on now, know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass.
And then let's go with this. I think these are probably ad-libs.
Slow down, I know I'm living way too fast.
Let's go with Valhalla Vintage Verb, and let's go with Lexicon. So for like ad-libs, I see myself going to the Lexicon 480L preset kit a lot more lately. And just all of these kind of just work. So let's go with like Concert Hall and just go with the low cut right here. And then turn this mix down.
Gotta slow down fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past. Know that I'm on now, know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass. And I'm flowing on this beat, I feel I'm finding on my beat. I've been trying to move it forward, I've been trying to stay on beat.
I do want to go ahead and add some delay. So I'm gonna do a Valhalla delay, and we're gonna go to my Ancient Echoes preset kit, and we're gonna go to the go-to delay. But I do want to adjust this EQ and just go up halfway.
Slow down, I know I'm living way too fast. I be thinking about my trauma, I be thinking about my past. Know that I'm on now, know that I can't go and drop my mask. I gotta slow down, know that all my future's in the grass. Know you running with your love, I cannot chase it. I can never find it. Know you running with your been all this pain, no I can't fake it. Know you running with your love, I cannot chase it. I can never find that love, so gotta know that I replace it.
Sorry producer, but that was kind of very inconvenient in the song. We had to take that out. All right guys, and that being said, that's pretty much how I would mix this record from start to finish. I hope this helped you guys. If it did, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and you know I have more gems on the way.